sure. That's pretty good. Yeah. Jenny's got her purple on too. Yeah. Her whole. A bit of purple. I like the edit this week. You overtaking New York City.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's his first time he takes town.
All right.
Go ahead.
You want me to start?
Sure.
All right. But Coach, just the Charlotte game, looking back at it, what do you think went wrong? How have the guys responded since then?
Yeah, that's, you got to own it. You got to be a man about it. You got to move forward on it. You got to go back and review it, check it out, see what we didn't do well, what we did well, and move forward with it. There's a lot of little stuff, of a guy would lose leverage here, or a guy's trying to make a play here, or a guy's trying to do more than his job. It goes back to just doing your job. Be my 1/11th of the defense. And if I do my job, I keep leverage on the football, the alley guy can now do his job and pursue inside out. But if I lose my leverage because I'm trying to make a play, now the ball bounces on the whole defense and we give up a big run. And that's really what it comes down to. And, once one of those mistakes happen, somebody else thinks they have to make a play or lose a little confidence in what they're doing, slows them down a little bit, and just kind of domino effect there. And definitely an embarrassing day for us all. Definitely something that we've slept with a lot over the last 2 weeks, just reminding us of urgency and intent and purpose and how we attack practice each and every day. And, kind of lit a fire under our guys and coaches as well. So, got to get it fixed, got to move on about it. Each and every week's a new opponent, new opportunity. We needed that bye week to kind of, for two reasons, kind of fresh, rest up, and get our legs back under us, for one, and two, you're facing a new offense in Army. It was an option offense, and it gives you time to prepare for those guys, kind of a little bit different than every opponent you've had up until this point. So that was good, and then we got to take, what mistakes we made all season into this game. We'll have to get it fixed in the bye week, and then get prepared in preparation for Army.
The way the Charlotte guys kind of mentioned post game, just felt like they were making your guys give up. I mean, how have they really taken that to heart over the bye week?
Yeah. I think anytime you're on that side of it, especially as a player, you probably feel that way. I'm not sure I saw that exactly what they said on film, but at the same time, we didn't play up to our standard and play the way we have defensively since I've been here. And our guys are really upset about it, really pissed off about it, as we should be. As coaches, as we should be. And that's something that we got to take each and every day to figure out how we're going to get that fixed and make sure we're making a point of it. It's in the back of our minds. Obviously our focus is on Army, but it's always in the back of our minds and make sure that never happens again and we get it corrected.
The last few years leading into Navy, you guys have spent a period or two every Sunday kind of preparing for them. Did you guys do that this year due to the bye week and the extra preparation?
Yeah, so we knew, in the past years, we'd always preseason camp, prepare for Navy, prepare for the option, and every Sunday night kind of leading up to Navy, we prepare for them as well. This year we knew we had the bye week and 2 weeks to get ready for Army, so we did not do that during those Sunday nights. Just kind of went with that opponent of the week. But this year we had Army for 2 weeks of preparation. We did prepare in preseason camp for both Army and Navy, an option game, and our base fundamentals there. And then as we got closer to Army here, with the bye week, kind of focusing on that and what they do and what you got to take away and stop from them.
Coach, I know every offense is a little bit unique and different from each other, but when you do look like that offense in Army, how much more difficult is that for you and the defense to prepare for than
I tell you what stands out about Army is they come off the football. The way they come off the football up front, the way they come off the football in the backfield, and the way they play with leverage and take on the point of contact and just knocking people off the ball, and they're playing the game the right way. So a lot of respect to Coach Monken. Cody Worley, the offense coordinator, I worked with at Kennesaw State. Danny Verpels, their safety coach, a good friend of mine, worked with him at Kennesaw State as well, so know a lot of their coaches. But the offense is a little bit different. Bryson Daly is, if you gave a mid-year Player of the Year award, it may be very well being Bryson Daly. He's responsible for 20 touchdowns. Heck of a player, tough, hard-nosed kid, runs the football. When the game's on the line or in the red zone, they put it in his hands. The B-back, fullback, really good player, both of them. And I think that O-line is very impressive. I think, Coach Shanks on that committee for the Joe Moorhead Award, and I know Army's in that conversation of being the top O-line in the country, and they're certainly worthy of it. So we got to make sure that each individual, as we go back to Charlotte game, mentioned that, each individual didn't do their job, led to some big plays. It could happen the same thing this week. Every single man's got to do their 1/11th of the defense, do their job, and take care of their responsibility, whether it's tackling a dive, tackling the quarterback, taking on pitch, keeping their leverage, spilling it, alley, whatever it may be. And, if they'll do that, then we'll give ourselves a chance. And the big thing you got to do is match their physicality, because that's what they pride themselves on, their toughness, and they do a heck of a job with it. So we got to try to match that.
Watching that UAB game, it seems like Daly can throw it a bit too. How do you prepare for that additional element of the option?
Yeah, I think the option, usually creates one-on-one matchups. I mean, I was with that offense for 10 plus years, and all the time you would see guys wide open down the field because guys got their eyes in the wrong places. In the secondary, and cut somebody free. They think he's cracking, he's actually crack and go, or he's running post wheel, and they got the return motion out of the backfield, wherever it may be. And you get see guys get their eyes in the wrong places. And then Bryson Daly certainly puts it in the ball in the right hands, whether it's 15 or 87, whoever it may be. And a lot of times they end up in the end zone. So they've done a great job with that. He's a really good quarterback, throws pretty well. But the fact they kind of can run the ball and make you stack the box, can kind of leave you one-on-one matchups out wide as well.
How different is it with their offense and him being such a bigger quarterback? And usually you kind of have like a smaller, quick quarterback. He seems just extremely physical, extremely hard to tackle.
He's 220 pounds. I mean, he's, we were at the Citadel and Orion, over the years facing Navy. Sometimes you would have a quarterback who really worried about him getting open field, making you miss a tackle. With Bryson Daly, you're worried about just, hey, can we tackle him in the C gap? I think, the kids told me they call it the pie face or something. I guess a stiff arm. I was on Sports Center last week, and that one happened to be on the Sports Center against UAB, but he does it every game, all the time against defenders. You see guys bounce off of him. You see guys, you think him having tackled up in the C gap, and all of a sudden he pops through and gains another 20 yards. And the B-back's the same way. So we just got to do a really good job. I told our guys, hey, tackle thigh boards, and we got to top off, get guys to hatch the ball, and make sure we do a good job with that.
This group this year hasn't been in this position of being like the multiple touchdown underdog going into this game. How do you think your group has kind of channeled that mentality?
Hats off to Army and what they've been able to do this year, and 23rd team in the country. That's awesome for our conference, awesome for them, kind of setting the standard where we want to be in. But it's also a great challenge. I mean, our guys love playing, at noon, ESPN2, 23 team in the country, underdogs, and really kind of us against the world mentality. And that's the way that you want it to be. You want to attack it. And some of us, that's the way it's been all our lives, and we go attack that thing and go at it. Don't back down from it. So that's exactly what we got to do on Saturday. That's the mentality we got to take in each and every snap, from snap one to the fourth quarter. We go back to that Navy game in 2022, I was just telling the guys, like, we played great for about 3.5 quarters, and then we let a long pass. So you can never relax against these guys. You just mentioned Bryson and his ability to throw the ball down the field and find receivers free. You got to have great eyes. You got to do your job every single snap, and they're gonna sustain some drives. But we got to find ways to kind of get them behind the sticks, get them off schedule, and find ways to get off the field. I think they've scored first drive of every game this season. And I think they've only punted 11 times out of 6 games. So they've put up some really good numbers offensively, averaging 39 points a game. I think almost 400 yards a game rushing, all that stuff. So we got to find, ways to kind of get them off schedule and put them behind the sticks and do some things that maybe they haven't done all year, because they've had the lead in every game. They haven't trailed any game this year, so we got to make them feel uncomfortable, and we got to do that from the get-go and continue to do that every single snap.
Coach, just an update on Savon and his recovery, and how's he doing mentally?
Yeah, he had surgery yesterday, so I texted him last night and said, I expect you to practice tomorrow morning, be full go and all that. But, he was out of practice the other day, just smiling. It was awesome to see his smile and see his, just his attitude toward things and positivity toward life. And, I'm thinking that yesterday and today, probably a tough couple of days as far as the pain. I think after that wears out in recovery, it's a long process there, but knowing Vaughn, he'll be right at it, attack that thing, and in preparations for his next steps to be in his career.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it, guys.